All right. It looks like our pickin' bands are getting started. Melee Creeps versus Vanguard Gaming to find out who will have the opportunity to face off against Popper's Pupils. Over here in the NA side of the Deadlock Night Shift. Number 52. And hey, if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, let this be an organic reminder to throw me a subscribe or a follow or a like and a comment. You know, all the stuff that makes YouTube's stinky algorithm happy would be very appreciated if you would be so kind. Thank you. Now that very organic reminder that just kind of slipped in and isn't like a shameless plug for myself is done, let's take a look at our picks and bans. So far, our bans come out as Mirage and Doorman, which means, of course, we must ask the question when, where, or if Pocket will be picked up. Now, Melee Creeps got Pocket last week, and they looked real bad on it, if we're being perfectly honest. They looked super weak with the hero, so I don't blame Vanguard Gaming for not banning Pocket against them and for just letting it through. Our first pickup for them was Lash. We've been seeing Lash all over the place. It's hard to deny how strong the man is at the moment. And Melee Creeps pick up Calico and Abrams. Okay. So Pocket being left on the table for the time being. Calico with the heavy burst damage, fast rotations, and Abrams just being very tanky and builds up to become a strong frontliner. Heck, he can even be a backline diver, depending on how you build. And Vanguard Gaming not going to fall into the same trap that Abrahams did over on the EU side. They're going to pick up Billy before the second phase picks have a chance to ban him out, making sure they have one of the best frontline tanks available in the game. And grabbing Rem as well. Okay, Vanguard Gaming very much following in the footsteps of what we saw Buff Enjoyers doing, picking up very naturally tanky heroes with a Rem behind them to continue keeping their health up and making sure that it is difficult to bring these heroes down. Melee Creeps grab Viscous. Normally I'd say is a great support pick, but Melee Creeps never play it as a support. They instead play it as a roaming burst damage dealer, and I think that is the wrong way to play it. While Viscous isn't particularly bad at it, I think there are heroes that are better at it than Viscous, and Viscous has the best support spell in the game with the cube, so not focusing Viscous on his best spell feels wrong to me. Anyway, Melee Creeps have Goober on the team. Goober is a renowned Viscous player and will play Viscous very well regardless of how they're going to play Viscous. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like when you have such an insane support spell, you should make use of it a little bit more intensely. Okay, our second phase bans came out as Celeste and Lady Geist, and our first pickup in the second phase is McGinnis on the side of Melee Creeps. She slipped through, actually. I'm actually kind of surprised that McGinnis didn't get banned, considering she is showing herself to be very strong right now, even after she got nerfed pretty hard last week. Like, her gun scaling got cut in half, and she is still being picked up consistently in pro play. She is still very successful in ranked ladder matches, so clearly this hero was just flying under the radar for a while, and now that she's starting to get a lot more attention, people are like, yeah, even after those nerfs, she's still very strong. Still good. Vanguard Gaming pick up Ivy and Drifter. Okay, I don't like the Ivy pickup. I say this all the time with Ivy. I don't like the Ivy pickup unless there is like a patch where Ivy is incredibly strong, and Ivy did not get any real buffs recently or anything like that. Sure, a few other heroes got nerfed, which indirectly makes Ivy a little better, but still, you're missing out on various other very strong heroes that are available, such as the Venador that was picked up on the side of Melee Creeps as one of their late game scaling gun carries. McGinnis could also be one, and Bebop as a pickoff hero. Vanguard Gaming have also grabbed Drifter. He's going to be doing the same function as Calico. He's going to be sharking around the outsides, looking for rotation, seeing if he can start fights, set up pickoffs and stuff like that. And the last pickup is Infernus for Vanguard Gaming. All right, now that's a fine hero right there. I do think Infernus gets underplayed in pro play. I think Infernus is quite strong. But I understand when he's not picked up in favor of someone like Venator, for example, or in favor of someone like Geist. I think those two heroes are examples of heroes that are just a little stronger at the moment. But I do think Infernus is, like, constantly... His kit is hard to not feel good with. It is a strong kit, especially Afterburn, his passive that does 20 billion damage over the course of the game, it feels like. He's a hero that has multiple builds. You can build him spirit-focused and dashing around a lot. You can build him gun-focused, and he's pretty darn strong with a gun build as well. We'll see exactly what they plan to do. I'm expecting dash build Infernus. If I'm being honest, I think it is the stronger build overall. And the dash build, if the game goes hyper late, can transition into gun build if you really feel like the dash isn't doing its work. Because a few of the pickups that you get will be kept for the gun build either way, because Infernus is a very hybrid hero in the gun build where you're going to be picking up a lot of spirit stuff anyway. So we'll see if the game goes late, whether he sticks with a pure dash build or if there is a transition over to the gun build. It's the kind of thing you see that's common in Dota 2. There are some heroes in Dota 2, for example, that will start off with a build priority that goes in one direction, and then when the game starts to get late, they flip it to another direction, and they go from, say, like a magic-focused build to a attack damage-focused build. So from a spirit to a gun build. And we could see that with Infernus. He is a hero that absolutely can pull that off, and it's a hero we don't see too often, but I do think that Infernus in the hyper late game is quite strong if you can get there. The problem, of course, being that pro games in Deadlock last maybe 30 minutes. 40 is like a super long game for a pro match in Deadlock. So these heroes that have big scaling setups that are great in the late game and maybe struggle early game, that's the reason we don't see them too much. That's why we don't see, like, Wraith too often, or Haze being picked up as a potential carry. Infernus is actually pretty darn strong in the early and mid game with a dash build, but if you're going gun build, he's a little slow. 7 farms super fast. The problem is that 7's strengths are not able to be expressed as easily in pro games, because everyone... there's at least one player on every team that will be farming super fast, so 7 can only eke out a minor advantage at best. Viper we almost never see because Viper is dependent on sliding all the time, and the only way that Viper can guarantee slides is with an unstoppable, right? Otherwise, there's so much that can just get in Viper's way and stop her from being able to slide around dealing damage. So, at the end of the day, when it comes to potential carries that scale well into the late game, I think Infernus is on the upper echelons of it and doesn't have the pronounced weaknesses that some of the other picks do. He doesn't have this super weak stage of the game where he's got to build up. He doesn't have a specific way that he has to move around and play. He has solid range. He's not super short range like Viper is, for example. Infernus is just a very solid pickup, and I think we should see him a little more often than we do, if I'm being perfectly honest. But we'll, of course, have to see how things go for the side of Vanguard Gaming. And we'll see if Infernus is going to be as impactful as I think he is, or if I'm entirely wrong, and I'm just going to look like a big dummy. Luckily, there's no way that they're going to make me look like a dummy. That'd be crazy. Oh, I just noticed Birdie is the one playing Viscous rather than Goober. Goober is usually the Viscous player on melee creeps. That might hint that this is going to be a Viscous that supports as opposed to a Viscous that's looking to, like, assassinate the backline and burst damage. I guess we'll see. Oh, I just noticed Vanguard Gaming's team lineup. This is a lot of streamers that are relatively popular in Deadlock. Sometimes a streamer team can come together and make a decent pro team, but anyone that streams consistently is not going to be a good pro player in MOBAs, usually at least, because they're not spending their time hard practicing in a, like, competitive environment. They're not doing scrims all the time and such. They're spending time streaming and making money off of streaming. And when you're doing that, you aren't able to practice nearly as well as the people that are doing scrims and such. So I'd say that Melee Creeps is more than likely to be the team that has advantage just because they are more used to the pro scene. They've been here longer. Vanguard Gaming is just kind of showing up. Maybe they've been together as a team for a little bit, or maybe they're just throwing their hats in the ring for this particular week and seeing how it goes. But I just wanted to get everyone's expectations to where I think they should be, which is we should expect Melee Creeps to win. All right, looks like we're transferring over to the game. Give me 1 second and we will be in there in just a moment. All right, welcome everybody to game 1 of 1, and this best of 1 between Vanguard Gaming and Melee Creeps. Vanguard Gaming being the Amber team and Melee Creeps being the Sapphire team on this particular match. So, starting off with our lanes, we have a Bebop Venator lane facing off against a Infernus and Ivy lane. 2 eyes on the enemy side. Relatively even lane, all things considered. Either side has a chance to win. More than likely, we're going to see this is mostly a farming lane, unless Bebop is hitting a nice hook. If Bebop hits a nice hook, then we've got a real chance for a kill. On the side of the Ivy and Infernus, there's not a lot of chance to, like, commit hard to a kill. Maybe you could get a counter kill to the side of Melee Creeps doing an aggressive play, but otherwise, more than likely, it's going to be a pretty passive lane. Over here on the left side, we have a Billy Rem facing off against Abrams and Viscous. Another relatively even lane where both sides are looking to apply pressure through the tankiness of their main hero. But when it comes down to it, this is another lane that you can't really say either side has a big advantage. They're just going to have to duke it out and see which one of them comes out ahead. It's based on who plays better, really, on this side for this lane. And then in the far right, or far left of the map, we have Calico and McGinnis facing off against Lash and Drifter. And Drifter was killed as First Blood in favor of Calico. I do think Calico McGinnis definitely has the better lane here. I think it'll be difficult for the side of Lash and Drifter to put any pressure down as long as these heroes are around the lane. McGinnis pressures very heavily. Cube coming out onto Abrams on the other side of the map. Looks like everyone's fine. Looks like Billy got brought pretty low.
Who got here?
Brought pretty low, but he's fine. Wow, this Guardian's going to go down at 4 minutes. McGinnis pushes so fast. And now a chase from the Calico. Putting a bunch of damage in. Trades half her health for half of their health, but that's perfectly fine. Setting up McGinnis to be able to just continue pressuring the wave. Now, there is such a thing as taking a Guardian too early. And it could be difficult for them to continue applying pressure to the wave, but unfortunately for them, this is Deadlock, and Deadlock is designed in such a way that if you freeze a lane for too long, you're not going to get too much benefit because everyone else is going to be running boxes and picking up gold idols. And while you're just getting the lane troopers, if you sit there and play passively, they're getting lane troopers plus jungle troopers, jungle creeps plus boxes, you know? That's... Oh, McGinnis waiting for Lash to jump up there and immediately blasts him off the line for a kill. I hear Return to Shadows going off. Calico finishing off the Drifter. Calico McGinnis lane has absolutely stomped the early game. We have a 4 to 5k net worth lead already coming out in favor of melee creeps.
Let's go for a walk, Ava.
There's a Calico under the area. But looks like she's just going through for now. Nope, here she comes. Calico making her way up. Hook from Bebop, not actually gonna pull. So Calico only gonna get a couple tickles off. McGinnis has been holding this lane solo for the last little bit, and she's doing okay, but it looks like her life will be forfeit here. Lash and Drifter diving in, killing off the McGinnis, and now they're just trying to pressure the Guardian as much as possible. Taking it down to about half HP at the moment. Calico coming through onto the Lash, dealing a ton of damage. Drifter helps to shoo her away, but Lash and Drifter are both left a little low after that.
Let's go green.
Venator getting chased by the Ivy and the Infernus, hops upwards. Iradomini and the gut shot to keep the Infernus from chasing down onto him with the Flame Dash. Looks like Venator will be all right. Viscus's built Express Shot is going for the Mystic Shot. I think this is going to be that aggro Viscus build that we've been seeing out of melee creeps yet again. I am not the biggest fan of this build. This is one of those situations where you can, like, take that disgusted face from One Piece with, like, the 6 chins, and it's like, ew. That's how I feel when I look at the aggressive Viscus build. Just makes me go, ew. Calico not finding anything on the left side of the map, making her way over to the middle of the map. Hyper Beam from the Bebop, gonna help secure that Guardian and push back the opposing team. Another Guardian going the way of melee creeps, and here comes the goo roll. Abrams jumping in, trying to get purchase onto Rem. Rem is quick enough to get back to safety. However, there's a Bebop coming through from the side. Hook lands. Billy ripped from deep out of his lane into death. Fantastic hook by the Bebop. Drifter? Drifter dead. Calico chased him down. Abrams. He's killing a Sinner's Sacrifice. I was wondering what was happening to his health. Oh, hey! We've got a Spirit Abrams build. We haven't seen a Spirit Abrams in the past few games. So Spirit Abrams is all about Siphon Life, absorbing tons of health and life stealing like crazy for you. However, building Spirit Abrams does mean you're giving up a bit of survivability that the other Abrams build does, which is a little more focused on your green items. So he won't be quite as good as a frontline tank. Puddle Punch pushing the Infernus in. He's going to pop that ultimate, hitting no one and eventually getting charged to death. Rem tried to help him, and now Rem's life may be forfeit as they chase the little guy down. Boom goes the bomb, one more punch, down goes Rem. Meanwhile, Venator being chased out actually gets a kill. 2v1. Ivy killed off before the Venator dies. Oh, man. And meanwhile, Drifter, yep, Calico's going to find him along with Bebop. Down goes the Drifter, a 10k net worth lead at 10 minutes. Melee creeps looking like they are just on fire right now. In the good way. I have to say in the good way because there is an Infernus on the enemy team that can literally light them on fire. Okay, we've got a spirit buff on Viscous and a gun buff on McGinnis. Melee creeps grabbing both of those buffs. And 3 heroes and melee creeps in position to contest for the urn. Urn picked up by Calico. On the right side of the map, we've got a bit of a fight. A fair bit of damage comes down onto the Venator, but the cube keeping him healthy. Here comes Calico. And the urn is claimed. They only shot 1, maybe 2 of the orbs, so almost a complete urn in favor of melee creeps there. Over on the left side of the map, Rem Ultimate came through onto the McGinnis. They're going to lose their Guardian, and it looks like Vanguard are going to be able to back out. I say that, but oh, Rem got through. Rem was able to slide into these little holes here. But you know who can't? Drifter, as he is chased down once more by Calico. Calico is so strong this patch. She doesn't even need to level up her damage abilities to do so much damage. They'll probably give her a little bit of a base damage reduction to make it so that if you are going to build into the plus on the cat first for the mobility, then your damage will take a hit. Calico doing a fair bit of damage to Billy, still moving forward, losing half her health, but she'll be all right. Nobody dies. Everybody lives.
I see the enemy.
McGinnis will be taking a DK from the Rem, and Rem and Infernus are in a fight. The ball is bouncing and rolling. Infernus trying his best to survive, but the goo ball eventually finishes him off, and I think Rem's going to get chased down pretty easily, too. Calico able to keep up with him much faster than the little Rem. Down he goes. Let's take a look at our kill score. It is 13-2 in favor of melee creeps. And they're not even able to get a third kill. Like I said before we started, a team of streamers, I wouldn't expect too much from them in a professional circuit. They're here to have a good time, not to win. I would argue that winning is a good time and losing is a bad time, but you know, that's just me.
Let's push yellow.
Rift on the right side of the map being claimed by the side of Vanguard Gaming. Melee creeps give it up. They are far enough ahead that Vanguard would get a huge boost to their defensive stats, 35%, to their bullet resist, spirit resist, and debuff resist, so they just let it go. And instead, they're going to deign to fight afterwards, and Lash is going to be the one that comes out on top over the Venator. Oh, the hook lifting, or just ripping Lash out of the sky. Yo, is this Bebop cheating? Is this Bebop cheating? He's hitting some major hooks. Somebody check him PC.
The Archmother gives freely.
So based on the fact that Infernus is not leveling up Afterburn, I think this is going to be a Dash Infernus build. A little bit of a hybrid for the time being as he focuses on getting this Headhunter. But he also has Slowing Hex. Slowing Hex is a telltale sign that it's going to be a Dash Infernus. The fact of the matter is that leveling up, usually you focus on Flame Dash first no matter what. Getting the charges and the extra power makes you farm super fast. It's the follow-up to it that indicates what kind of Infernus build we're going to see, and it looking like a dasher. All right, 15-minute bridge buffs are spawning, and you can see that both sides are currently being covered by melee creeps. And after they take that, they are also in position with Bebop to potentially run this urn. Bebop coming through, Veilwalker invisibility. He finds Drifter. Gonna knock him over towards his team. There is a Lash flying through the sky going after the Bebop, but no, he's gonna have to back out, I think. Too much damage, too fast. Another hook hits! This man cannot miss. Lash will die. Ivy dead on the other side of the map. Abrams currently running the urn, finds the Infernus alongside the Calico and the Viscous. Just gonna chase him away. And this should be a free urn take. And what's going on the left side of the map? McGinnis doing McGinnis things and annihilating a Walker in a matter of seconds. The net worth lead continues to grow in favor of melee creeps. They are 15k ahead, and... Uh-oh. Lash actually able to get himself up high. He's safe for now.
I see Calico.
Calico's getting chased, but good luck catching her. It's Calico. She's pretty mobile. Still not going into cat form for extra mobility. Bebop got another hook? No way! Ivy pulled out. Gonna have to go to stone form to avoid the bomb. Return to Shadows being popped by Calico to try and dodge out of there.
I see Billy.
I see Infernus.
McGinnis running herself in. She's ready to fight. Here comes the sleep from Rem. Cube keeping McGinnis alive for now, but as the cube ends, that is right when the ultimate from the Infernus pops. It's not going to be nearly enough. Flame Dash keeping Infernus alive for now. Billy chasing down the Infernus. Can he get himself to safety? Climbing back to safety. Here comes McGinnis. Infernus hit a headshot, and it's just enough to keep him alive for now. He will be able to charge out, but who's left behind? Rem. Still alive for the time being, but... he'll actually get out, because they've made the call for mid-boss, and it should be pretty darn free. Lash making the move over. He does have ultimate. The problem is, they're gonna head him off at the pass, charge him into a wall, and beat him to death. Beat to death, I said. Okay, not to death. He's out of there. Good for him.
A blue walker is under attack.
But it is a Pyrrhic victory, a consolation prize, getting Lash out with his life as mid-boss goes entirely the way of melee creeps.
Let's go to Broadway.
I'll get into position.
I gotta say, this build on Viscous is probably very fun. Problem I have with it is it's just probably not very optimal. Bebop hook doesn't hit this one. Okay, maybe he's not cheating. That being said, that's a very injured Ivy, potentially dead. Yes, Ivy does not have stone form available. Goo ball rolling through. Lash coming over top. Ultimate available. Not popping it so far. Finally pops the ultimate. 3 heroes slammed down into the Walker. No, the Walker got stunned by the McGinnis wall, so it couldn't stomp. And instead, melee creeps are going to get out relatively fine. Lash able to pull off some solid damage, but it's not nearly enough to deter melee creeps from finishing off the Walker. And like clockwork, you see them rotate to the right side of the map to finish off the last Walker. It's already down from the push of the Venator. Iradomini popped to keep this Drifter from charging onto him, and misses the last shot, but it's probably not necessary.
Let's
Melee creeps are just too far ahead. There is a less than 1% chance of Vanguard Gaming being able to pull off a comeback victory.
I see the enemy.
McGinnis and Infernus fighting each other 1v1. Rem coming to help. Bebop's also in the area. Hyper Beam is popped. And instead, they're going to chase.
I see the enemy.
Rem, you ain't going nowhere, little buddy. Down he goes, chased to death. Viscous getting chased by Infernus. Infernus is able to take this fight, but Viscous using the cube and the puddle punch, able to keep himself healthy, and with the help of Calico, down goes Infernus. The kill score is 28-3. This is a stomp and a half. Somebody should check the bottom of Melee Creep's shoes, because I think Vanguard Gaming is all over the bottom of their boots. Hook out of the sky. Lash gonna be beaten to death soon. Using his incredible mobility, but yeah, down he goes.
The tide will be paid in blood.
At this point, there's not much to say. Melee Creeps is very likely going to wait until they can pick up the next mid-boss and then use the Rejuvenator charges to just push their opponents to death with their 40k net worth lead. Okay, slight exaggeration. Not quite 40k. It's more like 35k, but still. They're very far ahead. They're crushing. Apparently somebody crashed over on the side of Vanguard Gaming. Let's at least take a look at some of the items, the builds. It was Gun Ivy rather than Utility or Support Ivy. Spirit Drifter going full on into the Stalker's Mark and Rend as his main damage output. Okay. Well, I do like this basic tricore of spirit items on him. I'm a little surprised to see Spirit Burn as the next one. Over at Lash, we're looking at very common build up for Lash, the standard hybrid build for him. Of course, he is only 20k net worth, so I mean, it's only 20 minutes into the game. Can't expect to be too much further ahead. Rem building up into a Divine Barrier. Billy. No clue what he might be building into. Item-wise, that is. I would expect maybe, Now, at this point, there's not much you can build. There's not a whole lot that he could build that I'd be like, yeah, that'll make an impact. They're just so far behind right now.
Let's go to York.
Hey, they found Venator alone. Stalker's Mark and Rend come through. Gut shot. Oh my god, Venator's damage is so incredible. Venator is taken down, but he almost took the Drifter with him. Calico coming through. Drifter's going to get finished off eventually. Lash with the big ultimate. He's able to pull two, but unfortunately a cube saves one of them. Here comes the Goo Ball rolling on through, stunning everyone that he runs into. Lash, very difficult for Goo Ball to get a hit onto though, and it looks like they're actually chasing them away on the side of Vanguard Gaming. Uh-oh, here comes the stun. And Infernus in a very bad position, chased down. Too much damage coming out from the side of Melee Creeps. And as they make their way around, Calico full heal off of the heal bane procs and killing the enemy. 3 heroes dead on the side of Vanguard. The push is coming through. The base will be in shambles within the next 30 seconds. And there's no ultimates or anything over on the side of Vanguard. All they have is a hope and a prayer. Billy actually getting pretty far out there. Hook on to Billy, and Billy is in no man's land. Down he will go.
See the enemy.
Lash chasing onto the Bebop and doing a fair bit of damage. Unfortunately, Lash has to run for his life, and there are so many turrets in the area. His life is forfeit as McGinn is chasing him down way too quickly. Mid-boss will be respawning in a minute. And it looks like they're just going to play it safe on melee creeps. I think they're playing too safe, personally. As they are over 50,000 net worth ahead. I don't think they have to be quite so scared of their opponents. Calico diving in, hits a bunch of damage onto 3 heroes.
I see Infernus.
Bebop is eventually taken down. So a quick pickoff and an attempt at an escape. They might lose Ivy, but they're gonna call that super worth. Killing Bebop for Ivy is a very worthy trade. You're plinking down a 27k at the cost of a 19k. Super worth. They only need to do that about 20 more times, and I think the game will be pretty even.
Mid-boss has arrived.
Mid-boss has arrived. I suspect that after these 25-minute bridge buffs are taken, they will dive into the mid-boss. All right, what are our buffs? McGinnis takes movement, and Abrams takes spirit. Hey, considering he's going for a spirit Abrams build, this is perfect. It's exactly what he wanted.
Let's go blue.
Wow, I showed up to Calico just annihilating Infernus's health bar. Infernus taken down, Lash taken down. Chase on to the Rem. He's hiding in a teammate. Unfortunately for him, I don't think that teammate's gonna live for too long either. Even though it is Billy and he's tanky, there's just too many heroes and too many net worth advantages on the side of melee creeps. I don't even think they need the mid-boss at this point.
You're a clever one, aren't you, McGinnis?
Guys, there's only one hero on the enemy team. You could, like, take the base and go back for mid-boss.
Let's go mid.
Ah, well. Taking mid. Maybe they're gonna dedicate Abrams to this. Bro, are you really gonna try and fight Abrams here in a 1v1? Good luck. I think this is super in favor of Abrams. Oh, and Calico's here too, in case he needed help. Infernus coming in. All right, maybe they've got something going, but... yeah, all right. Infernus jumps in and does not get the Void Troopers on his side. He will die. Yeah, this is all to be expected. This entire game was kind of a formality. Not the most entertaining game, just a stomp from start to finish.
Technically speaking, turning in
I'm sorry, I know my job is to try and hype things up and stuff as a caster, but you can't hype up a stomp this brutal. This is just a clinical evisceration by melee creeps. Rem ultimate comes through. Not really going to impact people too heavily. Let's take a look at McGinnis putting the wall up and holding the opponents in the bad area where they can get killed. Rem almost taken down. Gonna hide inside of Billy and actually get out. Billy barely survives. But it's all over but the crying here. Billy with a huge chain gang. It's going to pull in 4 heroes, but there's no follow-up. Gets parried, gonna die. Ivy gut shot into the wall. Here comes Iradomini. 1, 2 crossbow bolts, and Ivy is dead from 100 to 0. Over on the right side of the map, there's a big Abrams ultimate. Lash ultimate, not actually going to be able to dunk anyone. He gets cursed first. A complete and total stomp in favor of melee creeps. Congrats to them. They will be heading over to the best of 3 over against Pauper's Pupils to see who will be the champion of the NA region.
And this is what success looks like.
Yeah, Calico's probably the MVP of that game. She was all over the map, constantly finding enemies to pick off. 31 assists and 8 kills. She was part of 39 kills that game. 39 kills. That's a lot of kills. That's a happy Calico. I wish I could say this was unexpected or this was like an off day for the Vanguard team, but I want to be honest with you guys. When a streamer team comes together and puts together a streamer team for a MOBA, 9 times out of 10, they just kind of get stomped. And that's what we saw here. We saw the streamer team make their way here, and they're good enough to get here. They're not bad players or anything. But there is a big difference between a high-ranking player and a professional player. It's about the same difference between a high-ranking player and a low-ranking player. The professionals will walk all over the high-ranking players that aren't professional players, the same way that high-ranking players will walk all over low-ranking players. And that's what we saw here. These are good players over on the side of Vanguard, and they're all at the top of the ladder's rankings for the most part. But that's just the difference between dedicated pros and slightly more casual, just very good players. And a lot of the things that we saw that go into the dedicated pros being good at the game and getting victories is things like really early map movement, good rotations, and objective timings. They were on every bridge buff, they were on every urn, they were on every rift, and the side of Vanguard was either slow to rotate to it or just completely giving them up. And when you give up every objective, every map objective, there's not a lot of hope to win the game. Anyone that's played a ranked game in this game can tell you that. I will say, one thing I want to point out a lot. Calico's probably MVP. The next MVP, if not Calico, is probably Bebop, who was hitting insane hooks that game. Legitimately, it looked like the Bebop was scripting and cheating in some way. Some of the hooks that Bebop was hitting on high-flying enemies were very impressive. I sure hope he's not scripting and isn't cheating in any way, shape, or form, because sometimes that happens. Every once in a while, a cheater will find their way into a pro team, especially when there's nothing but online games. And then if an offline tournament happens, suddenly they just don't play quite so well. It happens once in a while. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think that was just really great hooks by Bebop. So, well played over on the side of melee creeps, getting themselves the easy victory over their opponents. They'll be heading off to face Pauper's Pupils in a best of 3 after the break.